Hello, welcome to Minds on Mushrooms, where we're unveiling the magic behind psychedelics for mental health and addiction. I'm your host, Maggie Kirkwood. Check us out today. My girl, Diamond Drip, has a mushroom background. What the heck? Twinsies. Yours is really nice, though. And that chair you're in. I love
Oh,
the.
this is a gaming chair. It's back when I discovered video games for the first time in my life. I was like,
Wow.
yeah.
Well, podcast goals. Uh, um, Diamond, I thought it would be best to introduce you just kind of reading from your LinkedIn bio. You help people shred fear and self doubt and shame. You consider yourself an energy alignment coach. You have experience with psychedelics and mental health
Mhm.
talk and conversation, and you are an expert of sorts with human design.
Absolutely. I love that.
Mwah. Well, I am so pleased to have you here today. Um, I just want to say, so we don't forget, but I'm excited to get, I guess, my little mini reading
Yes.
on my human design energy. I'm really just learning or trying to learn so much more about this application, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, I could we quickly start there. Just I actually have been having a lot of conversations about human design, and it's kind of a lot to grasp. So I would love to just get your little mini pitch on an explanation.
On what human design is?
Yeah, for our listeners, I
Yeah.
think, yeah, please.
So human design is a combination of a bunch of different sciences, and they all map onto each other to create this energetic blueprint. And so you can think of it as a user's manual for how to usher in satisfaction, abundance, fulfillment in this lifetime, in this vessel that your soul chose this vessel in this lifetime. And so it gives you an ability to see areas where you're defined and you have strengths and you put this energy out into the environment through your aura. And it also shows you the areas where you take in energy, you amplify it. And because you don't have consistent access to, the energy that comes into that center, you start to form beliefs and habits and patterns based on your environment. So that's where in human design we start talking about conditioning. So from your friends, from your family, and from the
Mm,
biggest one, society. So yeah.
right. And I have just done my, brief looking into human design and I pulled up my chart. Wow, there's so much going on there. But yeah, I appreciate just hearing where we don't have the connections. I'm not going to be able to speak about it, but this is what I'm so excited about just to get a little touch on it. I think I was talking to you off screen. I just feel, at least with my healing journey, which has turned into a spiritual journey of sorts. I'm just fascinated and constantly wanting to learn more because I do feel that everything is so interwoven in this space, whether it's healing or psychedelics or energy. So, again, just thrilled to have you here. um, let's jump into psychedelic talk.
Yeah.
I am so stoked to hear kind of your experience there. And yeah, let's talk shroomies.
Yes, my favorite fungi. So so yeah, I had some recreational experience with psilocybin. I had tried microdosing. I was too scared to do the hero dose. The closest I had ever done was like 3.5 grams.
Hmm,
And I participated in a clinical trial that used psilocybin. And I say that that trial healed my depression and it taught me everything that I was doing wrong recreationally. And so,
wow.
yeah, so that trial was really the catalyst for what I like to call my spiritual awakening.
Okay.
I would not have been open to human design or any of the things that I use right now without having gone through that experience.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. So, I wanna hear more. So you had been recreationally kind of microdosing, or maybe
Yeah.
I like to say, like, haphazardly
Yeah.
using, and then you were a part of a clinical trial. Was that kind of like a one and done thing, or can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I was diagnosed with bipolar 2 when I was 14.
Oh, wow.
And so the trial looked at the efficacy of psilocybin and its ability to treat the depressive symptoms in people with my exact diagnosis. And
Wow.
so it was a 15-week trial where most of it was spent, taking baseline scales, getting to know your therapist, setting intention. And then the actual dosing day was just a one and done. It was like a 3-day experience where the first day we went in, we took our last drug test, we took our last scales, we got to know the room a little bit. Then the day of, we went in super early. I took they administered the psilocybin around 8 in the morning. I came out of
Oh.
the yeah, exactly. I came out of the experience, like, around, like, 2:30, 3 o'clock, and it felt like I had just gone, like, through a whole year's worth of journeys, and
Mm.
everyone's just like, "It's a Tuesday at 2:30. I'm just, whatever."
Wow.
Uh,
Had you had much, like, therapy, talk therapy, any sort of,
Yeah,
um,
I've been
did
in therapy for years, yeah.
so you when you emerged, from that first session, did you feel as though it had been a lot of years of therapy kind of dealt with, or was it after an integration that you were, tell me more about the profoundness of
Yeah.
the experience itself.
Yeah, so I had been in therapy, since the diagnosis. And what the trial did differently than those years of therapy was like, it's one thing to hear like the book science thrown at you of like CBT and whatever, thing. It's one thing to hear it like thrown at you as suggestions. It's another thing to go in and immerse yourself in an experience where you take away insights that are so powerful for you that you're like, I have to change something in my life. I spoke about in the experience, I had a death scene. So they have
Mm.
a playlist that they look at the when you're most likely to be in like a euphoric state, when you're most likely to be
Oh, wow.
in when you're most likely to be in contemplation. And so they kind of create the playlist to go with the rise and falls of
Mm.
what you're experiencing. And so during one of the song journeys, as I like to call each of the songs, I died actually. And
Mm.
so it was a really profound lesson around just letting go and recognizing that there is nothing to fear when you let go, because whether it was in the experience and telling myself like this is in your head, like being
Mhm.
able to consciously be like this is you're on a mushroom trip, you're not really dying, like calm down, let's see what happens next. And then being able to take that into life, because I always say that I'm a recovering perfectionist,
Okay.
and my friends and family will call me type A. And so so being able to relinquish that control and to just be able to take something as simple as a mantra, go with the flow, and
Okay.
recognizing that divine timing, divine wisdom is a thing. It was really, really helpful. So
Wow.
it allowed me to kind of get the insights that therapy tried to get me to come to on my own, but my mind was so in the way. And psilocybin helps take that off the board. It helps lower the default mode network. It helps
Mm.
connect those new neural pathways to where you're more receptive to the things that are coming up.
Yes, it sure does. And, truth be told, the more intentional, we are with the medicine, the more we receive.
Yeah.
Uh, so you said it was a catalyst for healing your depression. Was this also a catalyst for where you are vocationally, like with work and coaching and all of that?
Yeah. So after the trial, I made a pivot in my business. At the time of the trial, I was in school getting my visual communications degree. I'm a mom of a 7-year-old. She was 3 or 4 then, and I was running 2 businesses, and I was burning out
Wow.
rapidly doing like, trying to do all the things, and so what the trial showed me was, like, you're a business owner. Like, how are you letting your businesses run you? Like, you have control in everything that you're doing. What are you doing?
Mhm.
And so I was like, "No, you're right, self." And so I so I looked at my life and I was like, "Okay, what do I like from both businesses that I can streamline into one thing?" And it was the coaching piece because in my product-based business, I was listening to people and really taking the time to understand what they were going through in order to make recommendations. In my graphic design business, I was helping business owners understand the strategy that they were trying to use on social media, on their website, on whatever for free, and then
Mhm.
going around and doing what I was actually paid to do, which was create all the things.
Okay.
And so I was like, there's this coaching element that is in there. And after the trial, what I really wanted to do was like life coaching.
Okay.
And I was scared to do that because I was like, I can't guarantee, especially being a long time sufferer of depression, I can't guarantee you that at the end of 6 months, like you're not going to be depressed. I
Right.
can't guarantee you that you're going to feel better because, and now, especially as a coach, as I know now, like if you don't do the work, I can't do it for you. So I can make
Mhm.
suggestions all the live long day, but if you're not doing the work, it's not going to work. So I, what I like to say is I fear pivoted
Mm.
into into business coaching because I was like, I've built 2 businesses. You come to me at the beginning of 6 months, you don't know how to use AI, you don't have systems, you don't have SOPs, you don't have a strategy, you don't have your niche clear. At the
Mhm.
end of 6 months, you'll have those things. Like you'll be firing on all cylinders.
There's tangible
Yeah. Yeah,
goals. Yeah,
exactly.
okay, yeah.
And so that sent me into because my niche that I chose, all the marketing gurus and stuff, they say you have to niche, even if it's a niche for now. And so my niche were passion driven women entrepreneurs who were starting a service based business.
Mm.
And that was scary. And also, it triggered my imposter syndrome because while I had built a successful product based business, the service based piece was always like a side thing. It was like, do you need a logo? Do you need like videos edited? And so I hadn't considered that as a success yet. And here I was trying to coach women on how to build successful service based businesses. And
That's fair. Yeah.
and the thing with product versus service is the products are the products. When you switch into a service-based model, you're the product.
Mm.
And that brought up all my feelings of low self-esteem, low self-worth. Can I be
Mhm.
charging this much? Like, do I even know what I'm talking about really? Like all of the stuff. And
Mhm.
it was through my own journey to figure out what my superpower was so I could bring that to the light and use that as a marketing piece because
Mm.
business and mindset coaching space, especially online, is very saturated.
Mhm.
It was through trying to figure out what my superpower was that I met, or as we know now, the universe brought me people who helped engage my sacral response as a generator. And
Mm.
one of the people, they asked me, they were like, "Do you know your energy type?" And I was like, "What are you talking about? What?" They
Yeah.
they were like, "Just do this calculator and just see what you are." And that sparked the rabbit hole that is now my life and the experiment. But it was months and hours of crying and stumbling over my own feet trying to figure out like, okay, how do I like as this awakened being from the trial,
Yeah.
how do I bring this in like because the person who I was in the psilocybin experience, she was awesome. She
Mhm.
didn't have like self-worth issues. She knew who she was and she was confident in that. And I was like, how do I be her in real life? Like
Right. So so you're saying you had to go on this further self-discovery journey, that roller coaster ride,
yeah.
but is your secret power the human design piece, the understanding of your energy and
So
how
my
you can
my secret power is helping people understand who they are on an authentic level and
Okay.
helping them understand the work that their soul came into this lifetime to do. Whether that's with human design and gene keys, or currently I'm being certified in soul realignment, which is to do with Akashic records and looking at your soul's light, like negative and positive choices over past lifetimes.
Mm.
So, really helping people understand who they are at their core essence on a spiritual level, and,
Mhm.
and then going from there, whether they want to do deeper personal work or
Mhm.
whether they want to bring those insights and bring who they are into their business, branding, and all of that.
Wow. Well, I'm pretty sure I'm going to be needing your services. Um, I can relate on so many levels, just with my, I guess, profound first mystical experience. This just profound knowing that I can't not talk about this or can't not be trying to do something in
Yeah.
this space. But yeah, figuring out how it all comes together and the steps getting there. I'm at it. There is a lot of release needed to create space to make to because anyway, I'm gonna just simmer my talking, but it's a lot to wrap your mind around. And what I'm appreciating is really starting to understand my gut feeling, and because there are so many unknowns in my where I am now, there's so much transition happening, but really trying to work in line with your soul, and considering those body responses, that there's so much to know about and learn. Can we talk about some of that stuff now, like human design and sacral
Yeah.
responses? Is that how we say it?
Yes, sacral response. So there are 5 energy types. One is a hybrid. So I'm a generator
Okay.
and you are a manifesting generator. And so what that means is when you look at the 9 energy centers of human design, one of those energy centers is the sacral. And so the sacral is that kind of guttural response that we have when someone asks, especially yes or no questions. Someone
Mhm.
asks us a yes or no question and we're like, "Ooh, yes, I like that actually." Or they're like, "Hey, do you want to do this thing?" And we're like, no. Or
Mhm.
like as women with our conditioning, because people pleasing is a thing, we're like, "No,
Mhm.
not really." And then our mind then kick in and it's like, well, you could do whatever it is, but that's not
Yeah.
the point. We have that initial sacral response, that initial body response. And so that's the generator theme. Now, when you bring in emotional authority, which we both have emotional authority,
Mhm.
what happens with that is we'll have that initial, ooh, yes. And then we need to sleep on it. We need
Mhm.
to take some time to really ride out our emotional wave. Is it
Mhm.
still a yes in the high? Is it still a yes in the no, like in the low phase? And really taking our time to assess what our body is feeling during that time and making sure that it's still a yes. I'll give the perfect example. I was asked to do a retreat in April of 2025 in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm in Maryland. So I would have to go and travel and do all the things.
Mhm.
And initially, especially because the person who asked me, I was like, "Ooh, yes, actually, I would love to come and speak and do things like that." And then I was like, "But also, I need to sleep on it."
Mhm.
And she knows that I do human design, and so I was
Yeah.
like, "But also, I need to sleep on it." And the sovereignty that allowed me in being able to honor my authority, I was able to then come back and say like, yes, but I need to sleep on it. Is there any more information that you can give me to really solidify this as a yes? Like, because she was just like arbitrarily April 2025 in Georgia. I was like, is there a location yet? Are
Mhm.
there dates that I can like take to my partner so I can make sure like he's cool with taking our daughter for that amount of time? Like all of
Sure.
these different things. And that's the one line in me. I'm like, I need all the details, like, so I can
Mhm.
have a foundation of information and really make this decision from the best place. And
Mhm.
so I slept on it. She gave me extra details. I checked in with my partner. He's good to go with our kid. And I'm gonna be going. But I
Okay.
I had to take the time Because if I would have said yes initially and I didn't take the time to ride out my emotional wave, I didn't check in with my partner, I would have
Mhm.
met resistance along
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah.
the
I,
way.
that concept is just I mean, shouldn't we be learning this in kindergarten? Um, but yeah, again, just with, someone with so much transition happening and even conversations I'm having or questions that are being asked of me rather than responding just, as I naturally would, it's just taking that time, to carve out a response. Sometimes that's more direct than I usually am, or saving my energy,
Yeah,
I guess.
yeah.
Um, well, so you are a generator.
Yeah,
I'm a manifesting generator.
got a lot of energy too. So
Okay.
there are 9 energy centers. So you have, and so I always like to talk about the not self question that comes out of the energy centers because it helps kind of give an understanding of your potential for conditioning. So the crown, which the not self question that comes out of that is, am I trying to answer everyone else's questions? And I know that this comes into play for you, especially because you have 2 of my not so favorite gates. I don't have these gates. And so whenever I meet people with these gates, I'm like, especially because I'm doing my own work around healing my undefined heart center, which the not self question that comes out of that is, do I think I have something to prove? The
Mm,
63 is the gate of doubt. And so there's always this like, if you're aligned, it's a healthy skepticism. If you're not, it's like, mm-mm. Like it's like an attack on like, make this make sense. Like it's your job to make this make sense. So,
okay.
so um it's the pressure, like the crown center is a pressure center. It's a pressure to answer all of these different questions. And
Mm,
so right under that is the ajna, which the not self question that comes out of that is, am I trying to convince everyone that I'm certain? And so
mm,
your energy actually connects here through a channel, which is when 2 gates in human design connect. And
mm.
so that is what creates definition in these different energy centers. So from what I can tell from just looking at your chart, I can tell you spend a lot of time in your head. I can
That's
tell you spend a lot of time trying
uh-huh.
to figure things out and come up with solutions and come up with the answers to all of these different questions. And it can be exhausting when we spend that much time in our heads.
Yeah. I
So
I'm was literally told I have the energy of a hummingbird going around in here. It sounds about right. I mean, I'm trying to work on it, but carry on.
yes. Going down from the crown to the ajna, you have the throat. And so this is actually what makes you a manifesting generator. So your throat is defined and it's connected to what we in human design call a motor center. So this is like a sense of like how you can like leap into action and bring forth whatever you're trying to manifest.
Mm, using my voice?
Yeah, using your voice. You have a
Okay.
very, like, fixed and reliable voice,
Oh.
um, and so you have consistent access to this voice, which is great that you have a podcast because you can then, like, use that voice, and I see, like, the 56, which, if I'm not mistaken, is one of the, like, the storytelling voices, so you're
Mm,
naturally a great storyteller. I also see the 33, which is like the gate of privacy, the gate of retreat. So it's really aligned for you to have these experiences, especially with your 3 line. Like threes experience life in like trial and error. So
yes, I was looking into that. That
yeah,
sounds about right.
yeah. So where someone can literally tell you, like, if you just do steps 1 through 5, like it's gonna work. You're like, is it the, especially with your like doubt. Like,
Yeah.
"Is it though? I think I need to get in there and try it out myself." And so, this 33 is also a storytelling voice where people naturally feel inclined to come to you and tell you their stories, and it's up to you to, like, reflect and see how the experiences relate, and you can then communicate those stories, to the collective.
Mhm.
So your throat center is defined. So you have like a very fixed and consistent access to your voice. I, on the other hand, have a completely open throat, which means that I have no gates defined
Okay.
in this at all. And so for me, it always feels like I'm struggling to come up with the right answer or say the right thing, or like I'm in fear that I'm not going to be heard
Mm.
because like I'm just like there's this energy around open and undefined throats. Whereas you're like, I know that I have a voice. I'm gonna be heard. Like if I got something to say, I'm gonna say it, and it's gonna be
Yeah.
yeah.
Damn straight. I mean, it is kind of funny because I literally feel that's what I'm doing or with this podcast. But there's other ideas beyond podcasts, don't get me
Yeah,
wrong. So,
absolutely.
okay.
Uh,
Oh, go ahead.
So moving down from the throat is the G center. So this is your center for love, identity, and direction. And I see that you're a triple split definition. So you have a lot of definition in your chart, but not all of these connections communicate with each other. And so
Okay.
when that happens, your deepest potential for wisdom comes from your open or undefined centers, which we'll get to those. I'm just walking people through like the chart. And so your channel 8-1, that's like a channel of leadership. So
Okay.
you have this wonderful ability to be of influence. And that really pairs well with your 5 line. I know you saw in your profile, you're a 3-5.
Hmm.
I'm a 5-1.
Okay.
And so the 5 line is like the solutions person, the challenge solver, the save the day person, which as 5 lines, we have to be really careful because people will project that we can save them and
Mm.
they will put us on this pedestal. And if those people aren't the correct people for us to help or influence or whatever with our gifts, then
Hmm.
it very quickly turns. And then we're like, burned at the stake, if you will. Like, you were
Mm.
supposed to be this awesome person and now you're not. So we have to be really careful as 5 lines, like setting expectations for what
Okay.
people are expecting from us, because like we're not for everyone.
Okay.
But that's the G center. It's the center for like love, identity, direction. You know who you are, you know where you're going in a general sense.
Mhm.
And that really speaks volumes. Right next to the G center is a very small triangle. And I always call this the little pesky triangle because it's pesky for me. It may not be for you.
Okay.
Um, but this is the heart center. This is the center for worthiness and self-esteem and
Mm.
willpower. And so I can tell, like, once you have your mind on something, you're like, I'm doing it. Because my daughter also has this defined. Um,
Okay.
so as someone who doesn't have this defined, I'm like, I got to pick my battles with her because
Mm.
like, if she says she's not gonna do something, then, like, she means it, and there's only so much massaging I can do to,
Mm.
like, my mom had a defined heart center, and I didn't, and so, like, she could coerce me into, feeling different things or
I
feeling
see.
yeah, but,
Okay.
like, I can't do that with my daughter because 'cause I'm like, she'll end up convincing me that she's right more.
Ah, wow. Well, I mean, it's helpful knowledge, right?
Yeah.
Or yeah.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
it is. It
Mm.
saves me so much energy because
Mm.
I'm like, knowing that I have to pick my battles with her is like, it saves me. And so, right underneath the small triangle, there's a big triangle in your chart, and that's the one that's dark blue. And so that's your solar plexus. That's actually what makes you an emotional authority.
Okay.
So even with how powerful we know our minds are, how strong our beliefs can like shape our lives,
Mhm.
if your solar plexus is defined, it's so powerful that that will then become your authority. Like if it is definition in there. And so this is the energy that we put out into the world. So a lot of times, it was funny, my partner, he doesn't have this center defined. And so we
Mhm.
went to a restaurant and I have a favorite waitress at this restaurant. And the hostess was walking us to our table and she was like, yeah, Marcia's going to be your waitress. And I was like, oh, yay, Marcia. Like, yay, I like her. And then we sat down and this other waitress came and was like, hey, I'm Jessica. I'm going to be. And he was like, I literally felt you deflate when you.
Wow.
Because this is the energy that we put out from
Right. Okay.
And it's really cool because you actually have the 4037 channel. So the 37 is the gate of friendship, which is why
Mm.
you're able to probably make really fast friends really quickly. They're like, I like her. Like, I keep her around.
Would love for that to be true.
Well, your throat, your defined voice probably ruffles some feathers, but
Mm.
you have the potential for it. You have
Yeah,
the
yeah.
for building this really strong community of strong supporters. And then, like, in the middle of the 2 big triangles is your sacral. So
Mhm,
that's what makes us a generator. We've already kinda talked about that at length.
mhm,
Then you have your spleen, and so this starts getting us into your undefined centers, which are your deepest areas for wisdom. So the not self question that comes out of the spleen is, am I holding on to things that no longer serve me?
mm,
And so this is especially true, I've seen in relationships, because like almost anything, opposites attract. So oftentimes, if we don't have something defined, so in your case, if you don't have a defined, if you have an undefined spleen, you attract partners who have this definition. And so it
mhm.
can create this feeling of safety and security. And so what will happen is, even when, like, your sacral will tell you, like, I don't I don't think this is right anymore. Like, I don't think this is for me. Your your spleen will basically be like, but I feel safe here. Like, but
Mm.
it's it's
Oh
nice.
my god, Diamond. I mean, I the good news is I'm aware,
Yeah.
and, in the last couple weeks, wow, there's been, I'm just gonna say, a lot of acknowledgement and awareness around it, and I know I am moving in the proper direction.
I love that, because
Yeah.
I see that the only definition that you have in your spleen is the 57, and that is the gate of intuition. So long as you stay out of that very defined head that you have there in Ajna, so long as you stay out of what's going on up there, and you listen to what your body is telling you, what your intuition is telling you, you will be well served to to move.
That, I mean, any tips on quiet, my meditation practice is actually the strongest it's ever been.
Mhm.
But beyond that, I mean, I could have a lobotomy. I don't know, it's just like this, yeah, I think it's also just acknowledging that the hummingbird is never,
Yeah, yeah,
but le when I learn about human design and other practices, even just shifting thought from, "Let's figure whatever it is I'm trying to figure out," to just, like, trying to learn or listen to what's going to make me feel well and out of my mind, like, I consider that a step in the right direction. But it is exhausting, and I am meeting a lot of people who are like like me, and trying to tune that down to be present and
yeah.
focused. Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that. And I love that you're in that awareness, and that your meditation practice is the strongest it's ever been, because that's really going to keep you connected to divine source, and having those downloads that will help you. And
Yeah.
then and then the last energy center that we have, that you also have undefined, is the root center. And so, as above, so below. The crown center is a pressure center. It's a pressure to think, it's a pressure to answer a bunch of questions.
Mhm.
And the root center is also a pressure center. So oftentimes it's a pressure to get a bunch of stuff done so you can be free of the pressure.
Mm.
You do have something working for you, as your only, it's crazy because your undefined areas, you have a gate definition there that helps kind of like, if you listen to the gift, it helps kind of mitigate the energy that you feel from your environment. So you have 52, which is
Okay.
the gate of stillness. So
Oh.
whereas, like, most people who have an undefined root, they're like, I have to do all of these things. I have to get this checklist done. I have to do. And they feel like they have to earn their rest. Like, they
Mhm.
don't feel like it's something that naturally they can be like, I've done a few things today. I'm just going to kick my feet up, and I'm just going to, be okay with the things that I did today. Like, it's
Mhm.
pressure, especially in the society that we live in, having the perfect morning routine that leads you into the day that you get a bunch of stuff done. And then, you have
Yeah.
things to do after your day, especially if you're a woman, right? And you have children. It's like, then you got to get dinner ready, and then you got to get the kids to bed.
Mhm.
And then once you do all of that and have your day, then you can rest. And it's
That's most people, but I'm okay to kick my feet up? Is that what you're saying? Because
yes.
I kind of feel that way.
Yes. Yeah,
I
and that's
mean
the 52, it's the stillness.
okay.
It's understanding, like, I can be still, and that helps you as a mani-gen, because manifesting generators, they have this ability to, like, move really fast.
Mhm,
And so sometimes that's why I'm always telling my daughter, I'm, like, trying to get her to understand this now, but, she's defined well.
mhm,
And so it will serve manifesting generators to just slow down. Like, I know they want to do things so fast. They have this gift of efficiency, and
mhm,
quantum human design, they're called time benders. And
mm,
like, that's true. And take your time though, because what happens is they're so busy trying to rush through things, get things done, that they'll miss a step. And then you just got to start over in like
yeah.
back where you started. Like, why?
It it's so funny though because, it how do you know or so thankful for, human design because in the small amount that I understand, it has helped me so much. My daughter is also a manifesting generator. That is helpful knowledge and really starting to understand tiny bits and pieces more. Like I can't wait for her to understand. I just wanted to say thank you because and thank you listeners for putting up with all of that regarding me, but I just enjoy again learning and hearing and it's a never ending practice. Can you explain to everyone how wasn't human design channeled
Mhm.
by yeah, tell us that little story, please.
Yeah. So the founder of Human Design, his name is Ra Uruhu. He's no longer with us on
Mhm,
this material plane, but he had something like a download over 7 days of these really powerful like visuals and geometric shapes and things like that,
mhm.
that helped him to think he's a manifester. I think he was a manifester. Yeah,
Okay.
because he wrote the book, The Definitive Guide of Human Design, and
Mhm.
he had to have a co-author because yeah, I think he's a manifester because
Okay.
he doesn't have a sacral definition, and the not self question that comes out of that is like, do I know when enough is enough? And so many non-energy
Oh.
types, they will try and keep up. They'll try and like, because manifesting generators and generators, we're like the energizer bunnies. We can just go and go and go, especially if we're doing work that we love. But the projectors, reflectors, manifestors, they don't have that. So
Mm.
he actually partnered, like co-authored the book with a generator so that he could like sustain, like obviously getting the book
Yeah. Wow.
but he had these downloads over like 7 days. And that was kind of how he started to make sense, like putting together the chart and understanding how these different sciences related to each other and created this energetic blueprint. Um, and then he, started telling people. And then he had somebody help him write the book and create this,
Mm.
chart. And yeah.
Yeah, so do you there's like is there one like book or several that you just continue to keep
yeah.
expanding your
So
knowledge or
Yeah, so, I did read the book.
Mm.
I will be honest, it is not the easiest book to get through. Um,
Really?
there are now different leaders who are putting together materials like Karen Curry Parker. She wrote the book like Quantum Human Design,
Okay.
which is a little bit more empowering than traditional human design. I'm actually going through her masterclass series right now. It's like a 7 day
Oh,
like
wow.
leap into quantum human design, and she gave us access to one of her books, like Introduction to Quantum Wellness. And
Oh.
so that's definitely something that's going to feed my one line. But I'm getting through the classes right now. There are tons of different perspectives on, because like we all, human design is the science of indi- like individuation, or differentiation is probably a better way to say it.
Okay.
So we have these kind of standard guidelines, these kind of standard archetypes, if you will, for
Mhm.
like these different gates, these different energy centers, like what it means to be defined and not. But at the end of the day, we have free will.
Mm.
And so people working with their energy, they will write books about, how they understand their design, and it'll help that particular subset of people. But in terms of like overarching human design, the definitive book of human design is a great resource. And then Karen Curry Parker's The Quantum Human Design is a great resource.
Wow. Thanks for that. Do you I'm just curious, since you getting back to the
Mhm,
psychedelics here for a
mhm.
minute, with your clinical trial and that being so successful, do you plan to continue further ceremonies or, um, yeah, do you have any current practices in that realm?
Yeah, absolutely. So I had the trial experience, the hero dose experience, and I microdose to
Okay.
continue the especially one of the reasons why I love working with women as clients is because one of my other rabbit holes is the fertility awareness method, so the FAM method, and understanding how each one of your phases of your cycle has a different personality, it has different
Oh.
productivity needs, it has different energy levels, workout, all of that. And so I like to microdose, especially during the luteal phase, so the PMS
Mm.
phase, when we're more irritable and we're, running hotter and things just don't feel as good. We're,
Mhm.
tender breath, all the things
Yes.
that all the things that would considerably make us irritable. I love microdosing during that time so that I'm more patient with myself. I'm more patient with the people around me. I'm more understanding of the people around me. I just have that greater sense of empathy.
Wow, I've actually never heard of that, and I will be looking into. I mean, it makes so much sense. I think, just the irritability piece, what a fabulous idea. What was the name of that where we understand our cycle more?
Yeah, the fertility awareness method.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah.
That's something to look into, ladies.
Yes. Um, and then so that's what I do like on a weekly everyday basis. And then I usually try to space out my big trips, my hero dose trips, no sooner than 6 months.
Okay.
So my partner and I actually have been on a THC break
Mm,
since July 13th. And
okay.
so we both have hero dose trips coming up for both of us. Mine is on the 23rd, his is on October 7th. And
Wow.
so we're going to hold space for each other. And then we're going to have like date night afterwards where we'll be able to talk and talk about our insights and things like that that'll come
Oh,
out.
how
Um,
fabulous.
yeah.
Can I come? No. Um, I'm curious, so you're taking a cannabis break just in
Mhm.
preparation
Yeah.
for a journey? Okay.
Yeah, it's which I didn't so it's been 2 years since the trial, and
Mm,
I've done trips while smoking cannabis, and there's something to be said about this, like, clean trip that I really wanna see, especially, like, 2 years post-clinical trial where that was a clean trip. I wasn't on anything
yeah.
altering.
Oh, I
So,
see.
yeah, I wanna see if, like, the insights and things that I'll have will be more profound than the ones that I did while on cannabis. So I'm
Okay, that's a
yeah.
good food for thought or smoke for thought. But yeah, I have, it's interesting just on other episodes, I've sat with or talked about sitting with Wachuma or
Mm,
San Pedro, um, and the way that cannabis works with that plant medicine. Almost, it's a completely different, for me, heightened experience. But I kind of get with psilocybin being much more of a mental experience,
Yeah.
emotional, and cannabis does bring a lot of that. I was having this conversation last night with a friend of mine talking about the different strains of cannabis and what that does for my hummingbird mind.
Yeah.
And it's important to, I feel like that is plant medicine that for me is more on the mental side. So taking notes, Diamond.
My partner also has definition up there. So it's
Oh,
and so the one thing that I was really excited when he agreed to go on the break with me is he has been using cannabis to like kind of numb himself. Like he would just wake up in the morning, take a dab because of all of the mental chatter, like
mm.
just to get peace and calm the mind. Yeah.
Sorry, mom. Sorry, dad. Um, okay, so now, but is he on his cleansing of
Yeah,
t
no, he's stopped. And so
okay,
like he's really been able to gate because he's been using cannabis. Like I took a break, obviously, when I was pregnant, but he
yeah.
had his medical marijuana card before I did. And so
Mm,
for 10 years, he has been, at first, it was as medicine to calm, but then as he got deeper in his depression, it was really being used to numb himself to everything. And so
wow.
now he is, for the first time, getting to understand just how bad it is. And so we've also been able to try different things that have helped him. So yeah, because you did ayahuasca.
No,
So
I have not, I haven't,
you,
no,
oh, well, if
no.
you do ayahuasca,
Mhm.
especially if you do it with a shaman in that type of setting, they use this ground tobacco called hape.
Yes, I use that.
Okay,
Yeah.
yes. And so he's able to find these different things other than cannabis that don't have that mind altering effect that bring him back down into his
Mm,
body. And like he was able to journal for like the first time in like years because
wow.
the all of the voices and all of the noise stopped for long enough for him to like be able to journal down a thought.
Yeah, Hape has been I use it before podcasting because it helps to ground
Mhm.
me and just kinda, like, get this clean slate from the hummingbird
Yeah,
flies away for a
yeah.
moment. Um, wow, that's wonderful, and this is all I love hearing all of this. Um and I was gonna ask, so is the name Diamond Drip, did you kind of create a new identity and or have you has that been is that your name?
So my name is Diamond. My birth given name is Diamond. And because I am all about brand strategy, building an online presence, that Drip is my chosen name. So anyone will ever want to find me on is through Coach Diamond Drip. And
Okay.
that is on purpose. Yeah.
I love it, and yeah, I was telling my girlfriends, I'm like, well, because I pulled my human design chart using your link,
Yeah.
and then this is a couple weeks ago, we were all sitting around and they're like, well, wait a minute, I want mine. And so we were all chatting and just reading, what was available through your link on one of your sites. And yeah, they're all like, ooh, diamond drip. So last night I'm like, tomorrow's diamond. So they're all so excited because honestly, everyone, or at least in my world, really is kind of in tune and wanting to just understand themselves better. And again, it's just so not only inspiring, but yeah, just I can't get enough of it. So
I'm curious, did they download the ebook with the
I
insights?
I I know we is that what you would have to do to read more than beyond the chart?
So there are 2 options. So
Okay.
on the website, diamonddripconsulting.com, you can pull
Mm,
your free chart. It gives you the brief blurbs for each thing that you're looking at. And then all the way at the bottom, there's Improve Your Health by Design, which is a free 7-page ebook that's
okay.
customized based on what you
Wow.
and it
Okay.
gives you insights into like how to get better sleep, how to manage overwhelm and pressure, and then how was your immune system designed. And then like I think you might have saw it, there was like let's get deep, where it's
Okay.
like a 60-page report that people can buy for $40 because
Oh,
I
I
just
see.
I just put a code in there for people to be able to take $10 off just for using my site.
Mhm.
And that allows them to I actually had someone by the report, and as she was reading it, because it uses the quantum human design language, which is designed to be really empowering, she
Mhm.
actually said that she was crying, and I was like, "I hope that these are tears of joy and empowerment." She was like, "Yes." I was like,
Oh,
"Okay,
wow.
yay."
Yay. Yes.
Yeah.
Um, no, but we were all oohing and eyeing because it just makes so much sense,
Yeah,
when read it and start to understand some of your behaviors and patterns and all of that. Um, well, that was also a beautiful segue. I wanted to, yeah. So let's call out some of y- your websites just so people can find you again, please.
yeah, it's just the one main one, diamonddripconsulting.com, and from there, they'll be able to pull their chart, learn about themselves, and learn about their energy, and also connect with me I'm on everything, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, I'm
Oh
on
yeah.
TikTok now because my scheduler lets me post to TikTok, so
Oh
that's been really
wow.
nice. Yeah,
Yeah, that is an interesting one. I'm just new to it too,
yeah,
and yeah, so I feel like you have to be maybe a little bit careful. Well, when I'm talking about plant medicine, uh,
yeah,
some of my videos I'm getting thousands of views, and then I post the next one, and then I get 3. So
yeah.
I don't know. We'll figure it out.
There's
But
also I use Metricool, and this is a tip for our entrepreneur
okay.
minds here. So I use this tool called Metricool, and it gives you like recommendations on like when engagement will be the highest, like 100%, 50%, like 67%. So it may just be that you might be
Mm,
thinking like if you schedule it at the same time, it's going to get the same amount of views, and it's
yeah.
not. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Say the name of that again.
So they try to be cool. So it's like metrics and
Mhm.
cool. So Metricool is what the tool is called.
Well, I'll be checking that out as
Yeah.
well. Um, yeah, you are so amazing. You're like a podcast. Oh, what? What is going How do we do that? Is that is that on your end?
Yeah, it's a max setting, and you know it's funny, I keep saying I need to create a YouTube video for my channel that shows people how to do it, because I get so many people, they're like, "How did you do that?" Because everyone thinks it's a Zoom thing, and I'm like, "No, it's not
Well,
a Zoom thing."
it's funny because I'm the one recording and you're making love. I
Fly from my hands.
Yes, so you are magical diamond. Holy cow.
Thank you.
No, but I'm just so amazed by you and all that you do, and it's so special to hear that, uh, you know, medicine was somewhat played a part, or to bring you these whole new ideas and
Yeah,
cause to help people, and it's such a wonderful wonderful story. And yes, I encourage people to check out Diamond and her site. There's You offer so much just like free value, and get to just start to get at the scratch the surface of all there is to understand with human design. And it all again plays in interwoven into healing and our own personal transformation journeys. So check her out. And again, thank you so much for taking the time to go through my chart. I know how much there is to understand, and I think you did such a splendid job helping me and the listeners to understand all that goes into it. So thank you, thank you. And
appreciate
again, helpful for me. I love it all, and it gives me hope and also a better understanding of what to simmer and quiet down, all that fun stuff. So thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate you so much. Thank you so much for your time, and I'm going to have you back. This has been so great. I
Yay.
loved it. All right, Diamond, you take care.
You too.
Thanks, guys. Thank you for joining the journey. You can tune in to Minds on Mushrooms on YouTube, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts.